Hello, my name is Patrick deWitt, and I'm here today to talk to you about my book French Exit and some of its influences. To discuss this book, off the bat we'll just say it's about Frances Price as the primary protagonist. She's a woman in her 60s. In her youth she had been known for her caustic wit and great beauty and style. The book tells the story of what happens after that has passed. Her money, of which she had quite a lot, has dwindled down to next to nothing. She is living with her adult son, Malcolm, who is essentially a useless human being. It's them against the world. They're very devoted to one another. When the money finally runs out completely, they decide to move to Paris to live in a borrowed apartment. And it's in Paris that their lives devolve completely. So I'm here today in Waterstones, Piccadilly to talk to you about some of the influences for my new book. And one of the influences is the great Evelyn Waugh. I picked the love one because I'm particularly fond of this book. It tells about the goings-on in a pet cemetery in the United States of America, and it's sort of Waugh at his most caustic and strange and funny. You could have picked any of, especially the early Evelyn Waugh books, and I would count these as influences. I was thinking of Waugh in writing French Exit, the way he handles his relationship with the rich, the wealthy. He's definitely making fun of them. He definitely has an element of nastiness, I think, in his portrayal of them. And yet there's also a sort of a deeper humanity. I think he has a sympathy for them. There's something like these helpless individuals who have been made sort of impotent by the fact of their never having to do anything with their lives other than spend the money that they've been given. So my relationship with the wealthy is very much an outsider to that world. Reading Waugh is a good primer for understanding the lives and the behaviors of the rich and powerful. We find ourselves in the B section, the fiction aisle in Waterstones. And here we have Jane Bowles' only novel that she wrote in her life, Two Serious Ladies. It's a comic masterpiece. It's also there's no other book like this that I've ever read, and it's been imitated many times, and I'm just one author in a long line of people who've tried to achieve this same tone and level of strangeness that she achieved in her novel. I was thinking particularly of the way in Two Serious Ladies there's a particular household. One of the two serious ladies, one of the two protagonists, lives in a home that is infiltrated by strangers who decide to show up and refuse to leave. And this is simply accepted as the norm, and the protagonist never questions why this is happening or why these people think that they would be allowed to come and not go. The similarity between my book and this book is that the cast of characters towards the end of my novel arrive at the borrowed apartment of Frances and Malcolm Price. They show up, some with suitcases, some simply with what they've got on them, and they decide to stay for the duration. They're so charmed by Frances and Malcolm, and what the Prices are experiencing, they hope to experiencing alongside them. And as with the Bowles book, Frances and Malcolm just accept this as the norm. This is all right by them. So it's not particularly realistic. Obviously, this wouldn't be suitable or acceptable in real life. But it makes sense in the universe of this novel, and hopefully within the universe of my novel as well. Okay, here we are in the film section, Screen Legends, and I find a book called Cassavetes on Cassavetes. Cassavetes is the third influence in regards to my own book. I was thinking of the way Cassavetes handles social situations with adults involving alcohol. The theme of excess and alcoholism runs through my book, and I admire very much the way that John Cassavetes handles how realistic his party scenarios are. Typically we have seemingly intelligent and rational men and women drinking to the point of idiocy and devolving through the course of a night together. It's an ugly thing, but it's also highly entertaining, and it strikes a chord with anyone who's ever attended a party over the age of 18. There are any number of party-type scenarios in my book, and there is no shortage of alcohol. And so I was thinking of the way Cassavetes handles this, and I basically ripped him off wholesale.